Well, now back to the 112th Congress and what we can expect in the new year. Joining us now, our political panel, Ron Nehring. He heads up the California Republican Party, and David Mercer, a former finance officer with the Democratic National Committee. Gentlemen, welcome to you both and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right, Ron, I want to start with you. The GOP has said its #1 goal, one of its top goals, is to dismantle health care. Will the House, now controlled by the Republicans, actually pass something trying to repeal it altogether, knowing it's going to die in the Senate? I mean, does that make them look like they're trying to get something done, or does it look like they're wasting time?
Well, I think what Republicans want to do is improve health care by dismantling Obamacare. This is something which Americans completely understand is something which is anathema to improving the quality of health care. It's a big government approach, which the overwhelming majority, 58% of Americans who voted in the recent election, want to see repealed. So Republicans have to make good on that. They intend to make good on that. They want to move forward with a straight repeal bill. Let's not get all divided up between different replacement proposals. Let's do a straight repeal. That's what the American people want. And let's have an honest debate following that on what the real cost drivers are, what's driving up the cost of health care, what's limiting access, and so on. But certainly putting the government in charge of it and moving forward down this path, which the American people have already rejected, is a mistake, and Republicans are following through with the promises they made in that election.
But if they pass that and it goes to the Senate, where it will be voted down, Democrats still have a majority, do they then go to the defunding process to try to chip away at it here and there where they can?
Well, I think that Republicans who control the House of Representatives right now do have those two options. Number one is move forward with a straight repeal bill, but then number two, as elements of Obamacare come into effect, that can only really happen with funding from the House of Representatives, and I think Republicans are going to be very clear. The American people do not want this, and they'll use the tools they have available in order to move forward in that direction. And then let's make sure that we have an alternative going forward.
David, let's talk about the Tea Party.
Sure.
Are they going to be more of a pain to the GOP establishment or to the White House and Democrats?
I think they'll be a pain initially, as they were in the midterm election primaries, to the Republicans. And it'll be interesting to see coming into this week how much of a pain they'll be and whether they'll be reined in by now Speaker-elect Boehner. And I think they have that hurdle to overcome before they start negotiating with the White House and also coming into accord with the Senate. And also going to what Ron said with regard to health care. I think the Tea Party is a little misguided because I didn't see health care reform on the ballot in the midterm elections. What I did see is an angst and a urging and a want and desire for jobs. And I think going into this week and then the State of the Union address, you'll see that course set by President Obama. And it's hopefully that the Tea Party, or I should say the Republican establishment, is able to rein in the Tea Party to leave health care reform to it being instituted and implemented properly. And as Ron had said, serving the 30 million new people that will be provided for under health care.
Well, you know, as we've heard anecdotally from voters, it's not like they absolutely hated the Democrats and absolutely loved the GOP. I mean, they were all about change. And some of these policies, though they may not have in writing been on the ballot, a lot of people felt like they were there, at least the ghost of them somehow. So, you know, for those folks who sent Tea Party members here to shake things up, Ron, are they going to be able to do that? I mean, there are a lot of them, but they're freshmen.
Well, I think you're seeing that right away. I think you're seeing that with the amount of pressure that we've seen coming from newly elected Republican members of Congress to have that earmark moratorium. Some of the more senior members were a little bit concerned about that, but at the end of the day, the Tea Party view, the pro-taxpayer view, is the one that prevailed. So there's already been that effect, which I think is positive. The next step, of course, will be bringing that spending down. I think your new members, those who were supported by Tea Party activists, are going to be very adamant bringing that spending down. The credit card has been maxed out, and you'll see this come to a head when we have to raise the federal debt limit from the current $14 trillion in just a couple of months. That is an opportunity to make sure, okay, if we're going to have to raise that limit, let's make sure, let's move forward in a meaningful way on spending cuts, and also let's set the stage for some bold reform as well.
But that's going to require people on both sides of the aisle being willing to step out and make some really difficult choices. David, will they do it?
And we still haven't heard from the Tea Party or from Speaker-elect Boehner as to what are we going to cut and what is going to be the basis for shared sacrifice. The middle-class American family has taken it on the chin, and we would hope as President Obama is committed to the prosperity and the sustainability of the American middle class, that we do have a shared not only responsibility to make sure that we have shared sacrifice in making those cuts. And I think if you look at the lame duck session, I think that what you have there is a setting and a foundation for how business can be done on a bipartisan basis. And hopefully Speaker Boehner-elect can bring the Tea Party to coming to grips with that and providing for the successes that we saw in passing the legislation, both in the Bush tax cuts, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, the START treaty, and so forth.
Well, I know we will all be watching. We'd love to have you back to talk about it once they're back in business starting on Wednesday. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you very much.